Good evening, I'm Ian Hanemansing. Sunny skies, green grass, and thousands of people. A big gathering in a Toronto park causes anger and frustration.
We just can't have that right now. It's just too many people too close.
Ontario's reopening woes as Montreal gets set to further ease restrictions. Nova Scotia brings Jennifer Casey home. Reflections from those who knew her. When someone invades your space, should you hold your breath? Our doctors will answer that coronavirus question and others. And meet the class of 2020.
I feel like a lot of people in our class took things for granted, as there was always going to be more time and you're going to get a graduation, you're going to get a prom.
What it's like to graduate in the middle of a pandemic. This is The National. Across the country, COVID-19's impact may vary, but fatigue with lockdowns and restrictions is a widespread and growing concern. This weekend, these images from a popular Toronto park were greeted with dismay and disappointment.
I was absolutely shocked. My friends, I get it. I get it. It's a beautiful day out. Everyone wants to get out and have a great time. I fully understand. But the images I saw, we just can't have that right now. There's just too many people too close. There's still a deadly virus amongst us. And if we allow it, it will spread. It will spread like wildfire.
Ontario continues to grapple with one of Canada's highest rates of confirmed new infections. Public health measures appeared to be working. Daily new cases peaked in late April, then declined. But Ontario's best days so far were earlier this month. The uptick in cases in the last few days linked, say officials, to people ignoring the rules. Tali Ricci shows us how a day in the park has raised fears about how fragile the public health effort against COVID-19 could be as the weather warms and patients frays.
A calmer scene on Sunday at Toronto's popular Trinity Bellwoods Park. But Saturday, it was like COVID-19 never happened. The city said thousands came to the park, lured by the weather.
As soon as the sun came out, I said, it's done now.
I think people are just kind of ready to be happy again.
The images were met with criticism online and from officials.
Like many others, I was disappointed and frankly saddened by what I saw.
From one doctor, an emotional plea.
We have to do better. I don't want my ER and my ICU filled up again with sick people.
The city told people to enjoy parks, but not like this.
You can meet friends at the park, but yes, please stay 2 meters apart. That is the requirement.
The city says 14 tickets were handed out yesterday across all Toronto parks, saying while enforcement was present, there were thousands of people here and it wasn't realistic to ticket everyone. More enforcement was brought in today to educate people, but Toronto's police chief says the problem wasn't as widespread as the photos made it seem.
On the north side of the park, the social distancing was being done well. On the south end of the park, the social distancing was done well. So it's not everybody that was here.
Isolation fatigue is challenging, especially in a crowded city.
I think the reward is very real after you've been, isolated for so long. I saw people hugging, I saw people high-fiving, they just want normal. And I think they're trying to grab that normal back a little bit.
There are many people who are alone, many people that live in the many condos here that don't have any outside spaces or balconies.
Experts say we'll know in the coming days how much damage was done.
I'm worried that, in 5 to 7 days from yesterday, after these huge crowds that were being reported at some parks, that we're going to see a lot more cases again.
And a sharp increase in cases could derail a phased plan to reopen. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
And Toronto's Mayor John Tory met with crowds in the park to find out why they weren't following the rules. But images circulating on social media showed him speaking with people seemingly closer than 2 meters away, and also with his mask down, sending, according to some critics, mixed messages. In response, the mayor issued an apology tonight, saying he intended to properly physically distance, but that it was difficult. He also acknowledged he failed to use his mask properly, signaling he'd set a better example in the future. Well, let's get a medical perspective on this from Isaac Bogosh, an infectious disease specialist with Toronto General Hospital. And Dr. Bogosh, first of all, how risky was that behavior yesterday at Trinity Bellwoods?
Well, certainly we saw lots of people cluster together in an area, and we saw many groups with many people, well over 5 people, in very close proximity to one another. So certainly we know this infection can be transmitted if people are in close proximity. Yes, I get it. It was outside, which lowers the risk slightly. But when people are in close proximity like that, it can be a setup for this virus to be transmitted.
And I know you're an infectious disease specialist, not a psychologist, but you must have given this some thought. How do you get the message out to people to not take those kinds of risks?
I think we really need very clear messaging from multiple levels, and that messaging has to be understandable to all demographics and all age groups. And, in addition to that, I think there's an element, a large element of public blowback. I mean, this is all anyone's been talking about in and around Toronto and, of course, elsewhere in Canada. And I think it's obviously brought shame to people who were in that park, and I think perhaps that might be enough to dissuade people from large congregations moving forward.
And I guess in a week or two, when we see if symptoms develop, we'll see what impact this may or may not have had. Dr. Bogosh, thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford made a plea today that more people get tested for COVID-19. He said they should go even if they have no symptoms. That's a departure from previous advice. It comes after Ontario missed its goal of 16,000 tests a day for a solid week. Premier Ford said 129 assessment centres have been set up. In neighbouring Quebec, the Montreal region is set for a high-stakes experiment. Even though it's the country's #1 COVID-19 hotspot, on Monday it begins a cautious reopening. Jayla Bernstein shows us the nervous preparations.
After 2 months of shuttered storefronts, Montreal is opening for business again. Shops with direct access to the street can welcome customers tomorrow.
I feel excited but nervous at the same time.
Businesses in the rest of the province got a 3-week head start, but in the Montreal area, the number of cases and hospitalizations made officials push the date back. This sporting goods store says it's doing what it can to protect customers and staff.
We've offered masks, we have face shields, we have sanitizers, 2 per case, so that once they finish the transaction, they're able to wash their hands. And if some people are more comfortable wearing the visor behind the plexi, then it's their decision.
Many shopkeepers are relieved to have some revenue again, but there's also fear about how this will all play out.
I don't know what to expect.
They make and sell their own jewelry, and they've prepared for everything they can think of.
We've role-played and had him pretend he's coming into the store and how to set things up.
While stores make their preparations, the government has also pledged to ramp up testing. Quebec was supposed to start averaging 14,000 tests a day 2 weeks ago, but as in Ontario, that has been a struggle.
I'm not happy. I would like to be at 14,000, and I hope we'll be at 14,000 soon.
The province finally hit that mark last week and surpassed it. The question is whether that can be maintained as more and more people venture out. Stephanie Carrière says they can only hope customers are respectful and patient.
We're all in the same storm. Not the same boat necessarily, but the same storm, and we're all in different boats just trying to keep our head above water.
She says everyone will figure out together how to adapt to this new reality. Jayla Bernstein, CBC News, Montreal.
Winnipeg is losing 400 jobs at aircraft maker Boeing. That's about a quarter of its workforce in that city. The Winnipeg site mostly produces components for commercial planes, according to the company. This is another sign of the dim outlook for air travel. Air Canada has already announced it's cutting at least half of its workforce, around 20,000 jobs. A small group of MPs is returning to Ottawa now to debate the shape of democracy during the pandemic. Ashley Burke explains how a proposed virtual parliament is raising real questions about accountability.
There may be a plan, but there's still some big questions about how to make Parliament work in a pandemic.
I'm almost getting the feeling like this has less to do with the safety of Canadians, and the Liberals are more concerned with trying to run away from parliamentary accountability.
The Liberals' proposal calls for 4 days of sittings a week, up from 3. and a hybrid model like the UK.
The Leader has confirmed that in future,
that means some MPs in the House of Commons, others attending virtually on TV screens. If passed in Canada, it would not mean a return to regular sittings, only the special committees on the pandemic.
It is not Parliament, and so it's not what we'd asked for, but it's a lot better than what they had been offering.
Leader of the Opposition.
The plan cuts out the theatrics of question period that allows parties to ask often uncomfortable questions. Some argue it's vital for democracy.
It puts heat and light on the government, regardless of whether or not you think that that's justified at this moment or not. It is an accountability measure in its own right.
I know that all parties are united in wanting to ensure that we continue, as we have been, to demonstrate that our democracy is strong and our institutions are functioning, not just despite the crisis, but because of the crisis.
Remind everyone to place their mics on mute.
The biggest hurdle now is the technology, including finding a way for MPs to vote online before it can go back to regular sittings.
For the security, we have to make sure that a hacker can't come in and try to impersonate any member of parliament and cast their vote on behalf of that member of parliament.
MPs will be debating all of this tomorrow. The proposal also includes calling them back for several sittings during their summer break and makes room for MPs to question ministers on topics other than just the pandemic. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
For most Americans, tomorrow is a day off, and what we saw in that Toronto park pales in comparison to some of the scenes in the U.S. on this Memorial Day weekend. This is a country with more than 1.6 million confirmed cases, with over 97,000 deaths, but where there's warm weather and beaches, there are crowds. And while people are taking advantage of these newfound freedoms, as Paul Hunter reports, officials are reminding people not to put lives at risk.
On a glorious blue sky day this weekend in the Missouri Ozarks, the pool at this resort was packed, so too the bar. No physical distancing here and not a mask in sight. Meanwhile, in Florida,
our units, county units, let's just go ahead and shut down all eastbound on the bridges.
a police helicopter hovered over a crowd. Again, no masks.
2 Beach 75. It looks like that white car, there's two people out the sunroof throwing money. They're clearly throwing cash at the crowd.
It was that kind of weekend in this country. As the U.S. increasingly reopens, countless seem eager to set aside warnings to be cautious.
We've made it clear that there's asymptomatic spread.
White House coronavirus advisor Dr. Deborah Birx today again reminded Americans the virus is spread easily, even by those who don't know they're infected.
So we really want to be clear all the time that social distancing is absolutely critical. And if you can't social distance and you're outside, you must wear a mask.
The stakes underlined today by the New York Times with a stark front page marking a looming, grim U.S. death count, along with name after name after name of the already dead. The risk that the desire to get back out there may lead to a fresh COVID spike, and that desire is strong. At this North Carolina Speedway,
we are out here because we are tired of being stuck in the house. I'm not afraid of this virus one bit.
Still, from some came concerns of a kind.
I'll definitely be going back and getting my COVID test. I got one right before we got here, and it was negative, and I'll be driving first in line when we're back on Tuesday to get another one.
She'd kept with her family, she said, but the crowd was in the thousands. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
It has been an emotional night in Nova Scotia. The body of Captain Jen Casey was returned to her home province 1 week after she died in the crash of a Canadian Forces Snowbird jet. Kayla Hounsell shows us the very personal tribute that wound through the streets of Halifax.
Carried by her teammates, the Canadian Forces Snowbirds, Captain Jennifer Casey is finally home.
431 spotters, to your fallen comrades.
A final salute for their public affairs officer as her family said goodbye. Among them, Casey's friend, Megan Groff.
To be asked to be a part of today has been an extreme honor.
Groff and Casey became fast friends working at a local radio station. It's where Casey, a former journalist, honed her skills as a storyteller. Her former colleagues now faced with telling her story.
It's just been back to back to back to back to back tragedy over the course of a month, and it's just been nonstop, and that takes its toll to begin with, let alone when you finally see your friend's face and name on the national news. It's been very difficult.
Nova Scotians lined the route as a motorcade wound its way through the streets of Halifax.
We just want the family to know. I hope they see us and that we respect the service she gave and the price she paid.
The procession was personal, past her family's home, the radio station, her junior high school, and the ballpark where she grew up playing.
It's actually beautiful. It really is. And she'll just fly what she loves to do.
Casey died during Operation Inspiration, a snowbird's mission to lift spirits during the COVID-19 pandemic. She flew over Halifax just 2 weeks before she died.
I said it must have been really difficult for her to be so close and in the province, but not to be able to come to Halifax. And she said, "Oh, right," with all the eyes and exclamation parts. And then she sent a text and it said it sure did look nice down there.
Her family asks those who wish to remember Captain Jen Casey to kick back on a deck, crack open a local brew, and crank up the Tragically Hip, a fitting tribute to honor a patriotic Canadian. Kayla Hounsel, CBC News, Halifax.
But there is also some positive news tonight out of Nova Scotia. The Porters Lake fire east of Halifax now under control. More than 1,000 residents are being allowed to come home. Officials say the weather helped crews' efforts to fight the fire. And here's how it looked as what's being called the worst storm in a decade blew into Western Australia. At least 50,000 homes and businesses lost power. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has surfaced again in video broadcast on state TV after another long stretch out of the public eye. Kim hadn't been seen in about 3 weeks. A lengthy absence before that sparked rumors that he was in bad health. In Hong Kong, police used tear gas and a water cannon to push back against protesters after thousands marched in the streets. As Briar Stewart explains, they're angry about a move by China to impose new security laws.
Once again, protesters and police clashed on the streets in Hong Kong. On Sunday afternoon, thousands turned up to rally against a contentious national security law proposed by Beijing.
We are worried that the Chinese Communist Party make use of the evil law to further suppress Hong Kong people.
The Communist Party claims the law, which was introduced Friday, is needed to quell, quote, radical local separatists. The protesters, along with a growing list of global leaders, see it as a push to erode the region's autonomy and warn imposing it could cause more consequences.
If they do, I can't see Hong Kong remaining an Asian financial center the way it has been for many, many years.
In Vancouver today, a pro-democracy group held a rally in solidarity. Details of the draft law are scant, but one big concern is that it would allow Chinese intelligence agencies to set up bases in Hong Kong and restrict civil liberties.
I believe thousands people will be arrested, and also the economy will be down the drain.
A very worrisome move.
This professor believes China saw a chance to push forward this law now because COVID-19 has meant it's more acceptable to curtail freedoms.
That China might be calculating that it is more important to assert its authority rather than to appear as a cooperative international player.
Hong Kong's chief executive says she will cooperate with China to enact the legislation, but she will almost certainly face a fight. It was just 8 months ago that she was forced to scrap an extradition bill after a series of growing and violent protests. So it's very likely there will be many more of these scenes playing out on the streets of Hong Kong. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
Today, Benjamin Netanyahu became the first sitting Israeli prime minister to go on trial. He's accused of bribery, breach of trust, and fraud, though the outcome could be months, even years away. As Derek Stoffel tells us, on the way into court today, Netanyahu lashed out.
Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's longest-serving prime minister, started his day at the center of political power, leading a meeting of his new cabinet. Then, just hours later, this difficult journey, trading the halls of government for this courtroom where his corruption trial got underway. Netanyahu, a polarizing figure in Israel for decades, continues to stir passions.
I came here to support the Prime Minister, the best one on the world in Israel, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu.
Hopefully, the court is going to make justice and is going to send him to jail.
If convicted, Netanyahu could face years in prison. He's charged with fraud, bribery, and breach of trust, accused of receiving expensive gifts, including cigars and champagne, in exchange for favors, and for helping a media company so it would publish favorable news stories about him. Netanyahu has long called it nothing more than a witch hunt. Today, accusing the police and attorney general of trying to topple a strong right-wing prime minister.
And it's a very embarrassing situation for the country to be in.
This legal expert says having a sitting PM on trial is a clear conflict of interest.
This is going to seriously undermine trust in government because we will never know whether the prime minister has pushed for this or that option because this is what's good for the country, or maybe this is something that could help him in his criminal trial.
Netanyahu, though, is a political survivor. The opposition failed to unseat him in 3 separate elections in the past year. The question now is whether it will be this court that will put an end to Netanyahu's political career. Derek Stoffel, CBC News, Toronto.
Canadian theaters are closed indefinitely during the pandemic, but the show must go on eventually.
If we're able to host shows, it's maybe for 50, 60, 70, 100 people.
Up next, from spaced out seats to Zoom rehearsals, Canadian theaters figuring out what the future looks like. Plus, Mickey, Minnie, meet the Raptors. The NBA might restart their season at Disney World. And wisdom from the class of 2020.
Don't take things for granted. You don't know when it can get taken away from you.
I speak to 3 inspiring young people about how they're navigating a big change during historic times. We're back after the break. It's as close to a stage these actors have been in months, finding creative ways to perform together virtually, like this scene from the musical Into the Woods, while also raising money for their peers. The COVID-19 pandemic has forced theaters across the country to close their doors indefinitely, and the road ahead remains uncertain. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson looks at how the show can go on.
The upcoming fall season for the small but critically acclaimed Coal Mine Theatre was going to be its most ambitious one yet.
You can see how intimate this place is.
But since COVID-19 forced it to close 2 months ago, its husband and wife team of artistic co-directors are having to make some tough choices.
We are not going to be able to program those shows because there's a good chance that some of our audience won't be able to come back.
The rent is a huge concern, yeah.
With no clear idea of when they can reopen, it's a stressful time for Canadian theaters, big and small, but many are coming up with creative survival strategies.
We took out disaster insurance for performance interruption.
Thanks to that insurance, which does cover pandemics, the Shaw Festival has been able to keep 300 of its cast and crew on the payroll for the past 2 months, rehearsing on Zoom.
I hope the journey from town hasn't tired you.
They've canceled more than 200 performances, but they have lots of ideas on how to return safely.
Look at things like how do you move performances into larger spaces or outdoor spaces. I don't think there's any doubt that we're going to modify our theaters in various ways and be cleaning them.
Maintaining physical distancing between audience members is top of mind for all theater companies, like Quebec City's Le Diamant.
It's a 600-seat venue, theater, but we think probably in September, if we're able to host shows, it's maybe for 50, 60, 70, 100 people.
Scaling down is also something the Coal Mine Theatre directors are considering.
We can do a smaller show with a smaller house and do a longer run.
It won't be easy. The small company needs a packed house just to pay the bills, but a necessary step as theaters ponder their uncertain next act. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
The Toronto Zoo opened its doors this weekend, pivoting to a drive-through experience for visitors.
We see this as a new product we might have into the future. And when we think about our post-COVID-19 life, what other things are we going to have to bring online to connect people, to get them out, to overcome these barriers?
The zoo had been closed since mid-March and was facing financial pressure. This scenic safari is a chance for guests to safely visit the grounds and the animals from their cars. Other zoos around the world are contemplating similar shifts. There have been a lot of rumors, but now confirmation the NBA is in talks with Disney to get games going again this summer. Anita Bath is in our Vancouver newsroom looking into how this would work.
Well, I know this doesn't get you as excited as the NHL announcements, but this is a big deal for a lot of sports fans. Hold on, though. The conversation is only exploratory at this point, according to the league, with a target start date of around late July. Could all happen here at the ESPN Sports Complex at Walt Disney World in Orlando. Now, this is a massive 220-acre athletic complex with multiple venues. So essentially, it would be the only site for an NBA campus, games, practices, and housing.
Nothing's going to stop these guys as long as they can get a sense of it's safe. There's money to be made. There's sponsors and TV deals to be reached. So they're going to turn over every stone to do it.
Think about this. About a year ago, I think all of us in Canada were basketball fans. But, for the NBA and other sports, Anita, there are a lot of hurdles that they're going to have to deal with.
For sure. And players will have to be quarantined and potentially away from their family and friends for a few months. So is that worth it? Is the potential spread worth it? Some wonder if there's a real morality issue here, even though the games would be played without fans in the stadium.
And what happens inevitably when one or two of these players on a certain team test positive? Does the whole thing get shut down? Are those individual players quarantined? Is that team specifically just out of luck?
Okay, at this point, if you are dying to watch sports, well, the Korean Baseball League is on, German Bundesliga, both of those have started. As you can see here, they're playing to empty stadiums, though. NFL, CFL, and yes, sorry, Ian, again, NHL. Well, there's really nothing concrete for any of those yet, either.
Yeah, well, I'm obsessed with all the vintage games that are on TV, so I'm good for now. Thanks, Anita.
I bet.
Next on The National, our doctor answers some of your COVID questions. And
hey, the class of 2020, that's so perfect. And here we are.
not exactly the way this year's graduating class thought they'd be finishing high school. Still ahead, my conversation with 3 inspiring young grads and their messages to others. But first, across Canada, Muslims found new ways to mark the end of Ramadan today. With most mosques still closed, Eid celebrations were moved online or to drive-through services like this one in Ottawa.
Allahu Akbar.
Communities coming together at a safe distance from PEI to Edmonton and, of course, virtually, sharing food thanks to curbside pickups and organizing deliveries for the more vulnerable.
Although it's like contactless, at least they can get that kind of sense of community and see their neighbors, care for people throughout this pandemic.
A sense of togetherness even felt on a popular video game. The pandemic once again forcing the faithful to break with tradition and to create new ones. Welcome back. Time again to answer your questions about COVID-19. And with us this evening, Dr. Michael Curry, an emergency room doctor at Delta Hospital just outside Vancouver. And Dr. Curry, first question, and I know we've had versions of this question before, but we keep getting it. So let me ask you, is it okay to allow other families to use our swimming pool while we're not using it?
It should be. We know the COVID virus is primarily spread by contact and by airborne particles. So as long as people haven't been using the pool immediately beforehand, and as long as common surfaces are washed down, and chlorinated pool water would be an ideal substance to do that with, there should be little to low risk of COVID being transmitted through a swimming pool that's shared, as long as people are physically distanced and surfaces are cleaned.
All right, so that was a relatively simple issue. Let's go on to one that's a bit more complicated, and here's the question. Dr. Bonnie Henry says every pandemic has a second wave, so we should expect one. And by the way, of course, she's the Chief Medical Health Officer here in Vancouver. But in terms of timing and magnitude, what does that second wave mean?
So what a second wave means is that the factors that allowed the germ that causes COVID-19 to propagate, the fact that it's infectious and the fact that people can spread it when they don't know they're symptomatic, means that, or before they know they're symptomatic, means that this virus is not gone. We still have COVID-19 circulating in the community, but at a lower level. So as our safeguards sort of relax a little bit, we can expect a second wave. And that's what happened with the flu pandemic of 1918, where it actually seemed to go away in the summer, but then it came back worse the preceding fall season. We're hoping that doesn't happen with COVID-19, but there almost certainly will be an uptick to some extent in the amount of COVID cases we see as we relax restrictions.
So just to clarify, I know that certainly in Toronto this weekend, but even in Vancouver, there's talk about how slow reopening or people getting together in parks, that sort of thing, could lead to an increase in the number of known infections. But in terms of a second wave, you're talking about something bigger and further in the future.
That's right. So there will be an uptick as things go up, but what we're trying to do is trying to control the rate of opening so this uptick becomes a manageable uptick and it doesn't become a second wave where we end up with our healthcare resources being overwhelmed.
Okay, we have time for a quick answer on this third question. When someone invades your space as you move, would it be helpful to hold your breath?
You know, it might be marginally beneficial, but unless somebody's breathing right in your face or speaking moistly right at you, that's unlikely to spread the virus. It's really the common touch and common surfaces. So washing your hands is probably the best thing you can do. Although if you really want to hold your breath, if somebody comes within 2 meters of you, it probably won't hurt.
Full disclosure, I was smiling during that question because I sometimes do hold my breath when I feel somebody is too close. Anyway, Dr. Michael Curry.
I do as well, Ian.
Always nice talking to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Ian.
And of course, we're asking your questions about COVID-19 each night, and you can send those to us, messaging us directly on Instagram at CBC The National, or send us an email, covid@cbc.ca. And to clarify, Dr. Henry, of course, the Provincial Medical Health Officer. There are many day-to-day concerns when it comes to navigating the world with COVID-19, but of course, it's important to keep in mind the human toll. More than 6,500 lives lost to the virus in Canada alone, and CBC News is telling their stories. We call the project Lives Remembered. And tonight, Ruth and Eugene Goldman.
My name's Mike Goldman, and I recently lost both my parents to COVID-19. My mother, Ruth, was 85, and my father, Eugene, was 88. They died 4 days apart. Dad was definitely the life of the party. If things were boring, Dad would do something. He was always trying to make us laugh. And Mom was such a beauty. She loved life. My parents met when they were in their 20s at a dance and would have been married for 65 years this year. Dad's secret to a long marriage was making your wife happy, really making sure that all of us understood how important it was to keep together as a family, to love one another, and to compromise whenever possible. One memory that makes me smile was my uncle has this bench. It's a model of a young man and a young woman kissing each other. I got my parents to sit beside them, and both of them kissed each other, and it was just so beautiful. I'll never forget that. My father went to the hospital first. About 2 days later, my mother had to be admitted. My father requested to move my mom into his room, and that night, my mom passed. I think that with the pain from COVID and the pain of losing my mom, within 4 days, he then passed. If I had both of my parents right in front of me, I would want to thank them for the love that they showed each other. I think the love that they showed each other helped all of us be better people, to serve our families, but also to serve our communities, because that's what both my parents did.
Ruth and Eugene Goldman, two of the many lives taken by COVID-19. If you've lost a loved one and want to share their story, please send us a note, covid@cbc.ca. Still ahead on The National, a salute to Canadian forces working in Quebec's long-term care homes. But first, when we come back, my conversation with members of the class of 2020. Next. The classic group photo of the graduating class, so typical at high schools right across the country. But there's nothing about this year which has been typical. This should be a busy time for grade 12 students getting ready for exams and graduation ceremony and prom, but not this year. It's probably more a time of uncertainty than excitement. We talked to 3 members of the high school graduating class of 2020. 3 different provinces, 3 different schools, but a very similar set of experiences. Logan Pipes is from Amherst, Nova Scotia. He's headed to Mount Allison University in nearby New Brunswick for mathematics later this year. Madison Francoeur is a competitive cheerleader in Snow Valley, that's near Barrie, Ontario. She's deciding which medical sciences program to attend. And Arshia Upal from Surrey, just outside Vancouver. She's a student council president and she's going to UBC in the fall. Bright futures, though perhaps hard to see through the fog of this pandemic.
I guess my first question is, how are you guys feeling right now? Madison, let's start with you.
So it's definitely disappointing to know that we're not going to get the graduation and prom that we've been looking forward to for our entire lives. I know, especially me, I've been looking forward to graduation and prom when we had like a kind of sneak peek of it in grade 8. And then I was like, I'm really looking forward to the real deal in grade 12 because you're starting a new chapter in your life. You're going off to university, starting new things. So I think it's definitely disappointing that you don't get to celebrate those accomplishments.
I'm happy with the choices that are being made. I don't think we should do it until we're absolutely certain it's safe to do it.
Arshia?
Yeah, I mean, as both of you said, it is kind of devastating that we're not getting that experience. Just as Madison said, the sneak peek, I was actually setting up for dinner dance last year and I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited for me to get a chance to do this and like to be with all my classmates and just get that closure. But then again, I mean, I'm grateful that I have time to be with my family and be at home, whereas like around the world some people aren't getting that, so I'm just grateful for where I'm at right now.
Now, so this is a time of the year where grade 12 students would be kind of thinking, especially for you guys, excitedly about fall and university. Arshia, what does that look like right now?
Well, actually, I'm quite nervous about that right now because here we are finishing up our last semester of high school online, and obviously, like we're not getting that. I know that my teachers were going to do a lot of final exams to prepare us for university exams, and we were going to take a bunch of AP exams as well, but that got moved online, so it's totally not the same thing. It was like 1 or 2 questions for 45 minutes that determined your whole year's knowledge, and so it did not. It's the best that they can do, I guess, and so I'm nervous for university because I feel like academically I'm not as prepared.
Now, Logan, you know what university you're going to, Mount A, the one I went to a long, long time ago, near your hometown of Amherst. You're going to be in residence, but still a lot of uncertainty for you too, right?
So I'm worried. As a math major, I know Mount Allison has officially announced that they're doing a blend of online and in-person classes. As a math major, I don't really have to be there in person, so I think it's going to be a lot of online work, which is unfortunate, but fortunate at the same time. I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm hopeful, but I don't really know what it's going to look like yet.
Madison, you've applied to lots of universities, you've been accepted to lots of universities, and they're all away. Are you hoping, would you like to be in residence somewhere in the fall?
It's definitely like my dream to go and live in residence and get that first year experience, having a roommate, being with everyone on your floor and hanging out. Like I just feel like everyone's told me about their first year experience and how they make new friends and everyone gets to know each other. And I just feel like we're not going to get that experience because a lot of universities that I've heard back from are saying that they're either going completely online or that they're going to do only 5 people on a floor, which I feel like really limits the amount of people you meet. And I feel like that ruins like your first year experience of university. So it makes me question like whether I actually want to go next year or defer it for a year because I want that first year experience.
Yeah, it's really all about the experience, in my opinion. Like that's what I'm looking forward to most is meeting all of the people, which who knows what that'll look like. I hope that that doesn't happen here.
One last thing, and let me start with you, Arshia. For those of us watching who aren't members of the class of 2020, what's your message to us? What's it been like to be a member of this year's graduating class?
I mean, the class of 2020, when it first started off, I was super excited. like just being part of student council as president and being part of all these different clubs. And like the first year was, our year was starting off really great. I mean, everyone kept saying, hey, the class of 2020, that's so perfect. And here we are. But I think one thing I tell everyone else who's still in high school and who's planning on graduating is just to live in the moment and really have experiences and to be able to balance your study and social life. I mean, I had troubles doing that, and I wish I did better with that because I kept putting off having fun until like June, and June never happened like in school. So it's kind of unfortunate. So just live in the moment, have fun, and be able to balance your work and social life.
Madison?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Arshia. I feel like a lot of people in our class took things for granted as there was always going to be more time and you're going to get a graduation, you're going to get a prom. So I would tell people to live in the moment as well, because take everything in, like don't take things for granted. Even if you're in grade 9, live through every single moment because you don't know when it can get taken away from you all of a sudden. Like I know for us, before we left for spring break, we were all like, oh, like see you in a week, like we're going to be back to school, we're going to have so much work, like, but then we're going to have prom, graduation, we're going to be so busy, but we never actually got to that point.
Logan?
Make sure we stick together. We're only going to get through this together. We've got to listen to each other. We've got to help each other out. I know that a lot of us are sticking together academically. Our teachers are being super helpful. We're sticking together as a class. I know a lot of us are talking in group chats, sending notes, helping tutor almost. Like, I'm really proud of us as a class that we've helped each other through it.
Well, all three of you are so impressive. I know you're high achievers. I know you're feeling a little bit anxious, but I wish you the best of luck. And you know what? We're going to keep your Zoom addresses, and maybe we can have this chat in a year's time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
The moment is next, but first a tale of quarantine meets choir coming out of Nova Scotia.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our virtual spring concert.
With in-person practice off limits, you might think the Annapolis Valley Honor Choir's final concert of the year was a no-go. Of course, you'd be wrong. They took the show online on Saturday, stitching together dozens of individual videos, in part to raise funds, raise spirits, and say thank you.
We would like to dedicate this song to all our frontline workers, healthcare professionals, first responders, and RCMP. Good people are hard to find. They're right around the corner at the end of the line. It's true.
Theirs is a mission like none other. And this weekend, Canadian Forces members serving in long-term care homes in Quebec got a pretty one-of-a-kind thank you as well. They were saluted by veterans of the Van Duze Regiment for their work on the front lines of the fight against COVID-19. Tonight, that thanks is our moment. This was no subtle thank you. The Van Duze veterans, about 40 in total, arrived on motorcycles to 3 long-term care homes in Montreal. Oh Canada pouring through the loudspeakers, applauding and saluting healthcare workers and the Canadian Forces members deployed to work alongside them. About 1,000 soldiers are working in long-term care homes right now in Quebec and Ontario, and there is risk. At least 28 have caught the virus.
For us, it's like any of us would have done and could have done the same thing as they're doing right now. Some of them and most of the people here have served outside country, overseas, and we see that right now as a mission, same thing as when we were deployed overseas.
So the Van Duze, the English nickname for the Royal 22nd Regiment, with a storied military history through 2 world wars and other overseas deployments. So really fitting that they would take the time, that regiment of all would take the time to salute what armed forces members are doing today in a much different kind of battle. That is the National for Sunday, May 24th. Thanks for watching. Good night.